Sometimes I have authors ask me a question like this. They'll say, Kenesha, I'm trying to write my story, but there is this one part of my story that I just do not know if I can write. It was too traumatic, it was too difficult to endure, and I don't think I want to go back and reflect on those really hard things for my story. I always try to be as compassionate and understanding as possible. When you really think about it, we are essentially reliving exactly what it is that we went through in our minds. We're thinking about it again, and there's just something about our brains that just completely fascinates me with how it allows us to go back in time and sometimes feel the same feelings that we once felt before, sometimes even see it in our minds the exact way that it played out. That's how our memory works, and sometimes even just igniting all of our senses all over again. That is a very, very hard thing to endure, especially if you want to tell your story. So I usually express a tremendous amount of care and compassion with authors who express that to me. Usually we end up having a conversation that centers around what parts of their story do they believe is going to be critical for the entire book that they're working on. And if they believe that this part of the story is something that they do need to tell, even though they're struggling with telling it, then I always offer a few words of advice. The first thing I usually say is take your time. I want authors to know that they can take their time and walk through this part of the process at their own pace. Secondly, I always want them to know that it is very important that they are very honest about what happened. Now, this is when it gets a little bit interesting because this will stir up different emotions. It can make you cry, it can make you angry again, it can make you feel all sorts of feelings that you once felt when you went through this one experience before. So if you're going to tell your personal story, I do believe it's very important to at least have a person that you trust that is there to listen to you, to help you walk through those moments, and that's going to help you communicate this part of your life on paper. I also want you to keep in mind that it's very important that you show and don't tell. Exactly how you see it in your mind and exactly how you experienced it in real life is what you'll need to communicate on paper. And lastly, I want you to know that it's important to consider your readers. Consider the people that you're telling your story for. Who is the person that you are wanting to sit down and have this cup of coffee with and tell them your story with hopes that it's going to leave a lasting impact in their life? So in summary, I just think it's important that you first take your time. Secondly, be very honest about the experiences. Show and don't tell. Consider having a friend, a person that you trust by your side, and consider that audience. Who are the readers that's going to read your book? I hope that this is helpful today.